Today we're bringing you a supercut of all of our egg cuttings from 2024. Each egg cutting will be linked below and chaptered so you can kind of skip around and see what genetics are at play and whatnot. But we wanted to kind of bring that together. Also, let us know in the comments what your favorite snake was, and let's go ahead and get it started. Today we bring you our first egg cutting of the year, and it is a really good one. I've been excited about this one for a while now. It's realistically my first chance to actually create my own Batmans. This girl laid pretty early. It's her first time ever breeding. I have no other clutches. This is it right now. I expect clutches here hopefully very soon. Last year all of mine laid pretty late. These were laid on the 4th of January this year. 6 eggs, all good looking. The first time girl's name is Dottie. She is an Orange Dream Leopard, Pastel, Het Clown, 100% Het Pied as well, which we proved out in a video all about genetic testing. The male we named King. He is a Spotnose GHI Clown, 66% Het Hypo. So these could theoretically be visual clowns, obviously, and then they could pass on the Het Pied gene, and they could pass on Hypo if he proves out as well, which, fun fact, I have a shed test out on him. When you strip away all the ingredients from here, except for what creates a Batman, which would be Leopard, Spotnose, and Clown, I have a 1 in 8 chance to hit that on 6 eggs. And now to get what I really want, which would be a GHI Batman or a GHI Orange Dream Batman, that is, I think, literally 2 out of 64, something like that, I don't know. But everything here should be cool. Everything will be 100% Het Clown, 50% Het Pied, and possible Hypo until we hear back on that shed test. I'm hopeful here, but the odds can be good or bad. So let's see how they treated us today without further ado, because this has the potential to be something really, really awesome. These have already pipped, at least 3 of them, I believe. One of them is already out, so I can tell that I did not get a clown on one of them. The other 2 have made slices. I try to wait till pipping, but it is day 55, which is almost always my hatching day anyway. As you can see here, this one is pipped, this one has a slice in it, and this one right here is a very small slice. Right here too. There's a couple of them, but there's one right there. So let's start with the one that I know is not a clown. Dry eggs. So right off the bat, I'd say a leopard. Wish I could see that head again. It was popping its head out. It might be a spot nose, but it's tough to say. But I definitely say very much leopard. But just very awesome dark pattern here. I'm not sure about Orange Dream. Believe it or not, this is my first Orange Dream clutch that I am personally hatching. These dark blacks are very, very black. That's why I kind of want to say spot nose, because it can enhance those. So this could very well be a Het Batman. So there's the head. I don't know. Pastel, I think, because of the very blushed head as well. Could be Orange Dream then. You see some oranges there, so very cool. Yeah, I love the pattern. I wish that was clown. I think that's a lot of stuff. Just not GHI, I don't think, though. Let's go with one here. It did not completely cut its way out. These are very dry. They are so ready to come out. Oh, okay. I think we got it. I completely absorbed its yolk though. But this is a Batman. I'll give it some water in there. It's kind of small, so I'm not super duper concerned, but I am, considering how much the rest of these are done. And there's a egg yolk in there still for this one. But I think we're fine. I don't see any evidence of kinking. It's just a small snake. So, I'm gonna keep an eye on it, but there's not much else I can do. But this is a Batman, and I think it might be an OD Batman. This is awesome. To hit one so early. This is not a clown. Well, the heck, the head. No, not a clown. The head kind of threw me off for a bit there. This is a spot nose leopard for sure. That makes me think this one is not. No, spot nose. I don't know. It's dark. Pastel, probably. Yeah, pastel. Look at that head pattern though. That screams clown. But then you've got the eye stripes. Don't throw me for a loop. It's got to be spot nose though, with that sort of head pattern. Very, very cool. Spot nose leopard for sure. You know what I haven't seen yet is GHI. I think I don't know how that would look in the combos. I gotta look it up, but usually that brings in some granulation and such. So, all right, the rest of these have not poked themselves out. Look at this one, already exploring. I don't think you're gonna absorb that yolk. I hope I don't have to assist feed. Of course, it would be on my Batman that I definitely hit that I've got some sort of difference. You can see the thin head too, so I am kind of concerned, but other than the thin head, I don't see any body deformities. Just a small snake.
All right, so we've already added a little bit of water. These are the driest eggs I think I've ever had. I don't know why. All right, let's continue. These are the first ones that have not pipped. This is also the smallest egg. There's a GHI Orange Dream, I think. Not a clown. Nice blushing. Those whites coming up on there. Very, very cool. Look at the whites and such. I wish that I could see this one a little bit better, but it's small and hasn't even broke its embryonic sac, I don't think. So I'm gonna leave it be, but it looks very cool. I love this blushing on here and such. Definitely GHI Orange Dream though. I don't know about anything else yet. I'm gonna put this one back. Add a wee bit of water. There you go. On to the next. Well, I don't want to get greedy. I want another Batman. And I want it with GHI. I really want it with GHI. That was the kind of goal of this pairing. Although hard to do. I love GHI. And I want it in as much of this as I can get it. Oops. Okay. We're looking at a clown. Well, I don't know. I don't think it's Batman. Clown for sure. Could be Orange Dream because of this whites near the bottom and the orangish, like I think it is. Might be Leopard. This could basically be the mom, but clown. And I don't think it's Pastel. Maybe it is. I mean, it's a little bit lighter. But don't see its head, so still very, very cool. And then our last one. So far, I've gotten hosed in my luck on GHI. Just one of them, I think. When they come out, I'll know a little bit better on some of these combos, but I guarantee you one of them is. Nope. Did not hit it. I think this is like the other one actually. Spotnose, Leopard. I only get 2 visual clowns. I think I did. But I did get a Batman, so I can't complain. You just better be okay. What in the world? Oh, this one's definitely Spotnose, Leopard. And I'll know more as they come out too. Look at this. This is one of the craziest ones I've ever seen, dude. This is just absolute chaos. I don't even know what the heck I'm looking at. I've seen Spotnose before. Look at this. I was gonna say I thought this was the same as this, but there's no way. What in the heck? Orange Dream, Leopard, Pastel, Spotnose, GHI. Those are the single genes that play here. So definitely Spotnose and Leopard are in here. I've never seen one so dotted like this. Like you get some pattern finally up here, but down here it's just insane. If I didn't already see its head, I would say that I got something real crazy here. Let me just make sure I'm not like losing my mind here. I think it's gonna hide its head. There it is, there's its head. It's got eye stripes. So you're not a clown, but what the heck is this stuff? It's like cow pattern-ish type stuff. Like a real leopard. Or I guess this is just one of the best leopards I've ever seen in my life. God dang, that's beautiful.
All right, it's been a couple days. It is currently Thursday. We cut these on a Tuesday, and most of them are already out. I'm not 100% on any of these, but I am 100% happy, especially with things like this. I am thoroughly confused. We're gonna go over what the ingredients should be, and I was really hoping that by some stroke of luck, my shed test for the male would have come back, and now I'm kicking myself for only doing the pied gene on the female. She did prove to be het pied, and I know het pied can throw some markers, but things like that, that's a little crazy. So let's start with the more obvious one here. This is our Batman, and this Batman is a little small. I think it might be the smallest ball python I've ever hatched. So of course I'm a little bit concerned, but I think he or she should be okay. I don't think it's just Batman, but I do think this might be Orange Dream. It's got a lot of tingy oranges, and when I looked up regular Batmans versus other Orange Dream Batmans, they're a little more brown. Also, the head is very blush, so it could be Pastel, but this is a Batman. That I am certain of. Moving on to this one right here, just to get the ones that are still in the eggs out of the way. It's obviously a clown, and it's the only other clown that I hit. I didn't get great odds, but we had a 1 in 8 chance of hitting a Batman, and we did, so I'll take what we can get. As far as this one goes, without it being completely out of the egg, I'm still a little stumped. I don't think it's just a regular clown, just because of different patterns and whatnot on it, but I'm a little perplexed because now I see stuff like this, a little teensy bit of granulation. I think it's just coincidence, but that usually brings out GHI, but I think that this is a leopard clown, but I could be mistaken on that. Now moving on to this one, I have no doubt that this is a GHI, and I believe it is is a GHI Spotnose, and I think it might be Orange Dream too, because of the crazy blushing. Look at the cool pattern on that side right there. Very, very cool. Almost calico-ish, but that's not in the combo. But I'm pretty certain this is a Spotnose GHI, and I think Orange Dream because of the oranges. Let's move on to one of the other ones here. First, let's get this really dark looking one. This one here is definitely leopard. I believe Spotnose as well. That would explain why it's so darn dark. And I think Pastel because of the blush head, obviously. I don't think GHI because I don't see the granulation except for in certain spots. But I really like this one as well. It's the darkest one, or at the very least it has the most dark pattern on it. I think it's Pastel, and I don't think it's doing it any harm. Usually I don't want Pastel in these things, but look at this. These dark colors are just so intense, and they're very bold. So I really like this one. But again, I'm a little perplexed as to a lot of this, just given the ingredients. Again, the father is a GHI Spotnose Clown, 66% het hypo, and the mother is a Pastel Orange Dream Leopard Het Clown Het Pied, 100% on those. You can see why maybe I'm a little bit confused on some of this stuff, but here's a absolutely stunning snake. I did good with leopard on this one. Like on the other one, I did very good with GHI, whereas I didn't do as good on this one. I think I only for sure hit it in one, which is in the egg still. But this one, again, this is Spotnose and leopard. Well, that I'm 100% sure. You can see right here, it almost looks spiderish, but that is not a spider. It is a Spotnose, and it'll do that too. I think that not all leopards are created equal. I think that there is lines of leopard, and we'll show the mother here, and she's an outstanding example of a leopard, and this has passed to her babies. So I really think that a lot of this variation that I'm seeing is just the best line of leopard. So shout out to JSA Reptiles on having some of the best leopards on the face of the planet, because this is wild. Look at these sides. Look at this pattern. It's just insane. And then finally, the last one, which is my favorite one. Again, Spotnose leopard, but this is wild, and I am perplexed. I mean, this is approaching monsoonish levels of insanity. Obviously not that crazy, but it is just blown up. The pattern has been completely exploded. I am insanely impressed by this. This one kind of has it going a little bit, but nothing compared to this. This one still has lines. This is dots everywhere. This actually looks like a leopard. Again, these are all 50% het pied, possible het hypo. So if it does prove out as hypo, I would update that and say there'd be 50% het hypo. Then that is, because then these would all potentially be incredibly powerful. You could have triple hets here. That Batman could be a Batman double het, and then there's no doubt I'm keeping that. Needless to say, I'm incredibly impressed and happy. I could always be happier if I had hit a little bit more GHI and clown representation, but the odds of getting a Batman were 1 out of 8, and I'm pretty sure we got an OD Batman there, if not maybe a little more. Now she just needs to hopefully start on food decently.
Today we're going to be looking at one of my favorite morphs, and that would be the Monarch. But there's a little more to it. I am creating hets by breeding a Monarch to a Pied. So double hets, Monarch Pied. And we'll discuss what those look like too when I hit the visuals eventually one day. But I wanted to do a little something different, because we always bring egg cuttings to you, but hets, they just kind of look like normal. So I figured, why not combine it and talk about the Monarch as well? I love this gene. I've been praising it for an incredible amount of time. It's something that when I wanted to get into a high-end investment ball python morph, it seemingly just called my name. Let's take a look at the Monarch that I have here. We do have several hets, but the visual Monarch that I picked up from Tom Harving is glorious. I absolutely fell in love with this boy the second I seen him, and I can't get over the colors and the saturation that Monarch brings to ball pythons. Starting off with these nice, crisp, yellowy oranges that come into the pattern, but that's actually not what I most love about the Monarch. For me, it's these nice, beautiful mahogany browns that are flirting with purple. I can't get over this color. Nothing else comes close to this. Furthermore, Monarch, what it does is not just this color morph, not just these beautiful saturations of colors that you're seeing, it cleans the animal up. Almost like a microdose of Desert Ghost in there. In a way, you're getting both this and that. Now, before I go any further, I do want to address a comparison that everybody's always making, and that's Monarch versus Ultramel. I get somewhat the comparisons, but look at the adults and tell me that that's even close to the same snake. They're not. They're different morphs. Even as babies, these are totally different morphs. I don't think that one needs to be considered better than the other. Obviously, I have my favorite, but that does not mean that both do not have their place and that both cannot be worked into collections. They do different things. You see that once you start working working either of them, honestly. I chose to get into Monarch because, for one, I only have a limited amount of space. I need to selectively pick what I'm going to get into, and what did it for me was these rich colors and this absolutely beautiful clean animal. An animal that stays the same way that it looks basically from when it's a baby. But I promised an egg cutting as well. So as we talk about Monarch, I am occasionally going to cut open a few of my own eggs because they are due. Okay. So there are a couple I'm a little concerned about. Nothing too bad, but this one's a little molded, and this one are kind of smushed down. Now it is time for them to hatch, but it's a little bit too smushed for my liking. So let's go ahead and get started, however, because I cannot do anything about what nature brings to me. So let's start with the moldy one. This one's got some goop in it, though. I'm hopeful about this one. No, I don't know. We'll see. Well, I'm a little concerned about this one. It's very small. It's obviously got all of its yolk smashed around it. The other one that we first looked into is completely dried out and molded on the inside. Although this one, I don't know.
Same thing here. It's just really small and there's a lot of yolk in there. You know, I can't lie, I'm a little concerned about these last two. They are alive, but I am concerned about them.
Well, Monarch by itself is just unbelievably outstanding. I would be remiss not to show some of these absolutely amazing combinations that have been made. One of them might surprise you because honestly, it's just Pastel. Pastel works really well with Monarch. Like I said, Monarch cleans the snake up, kind of like Desert Ghost. And well, Desert Ghost Pastels look really good as well. When you can control the brown out in what Pastel brings, then you have a really nice looking bright animal. And what Pastel does for Monarch is, well, about the same. It brightens the animal up, everything about it. Obviously, you still get the characteristic kind of washed out head, but the contrast kind of goes to a more bright looking color. You get these kind of almost plum looks to the brown now, really brings out some of these purples in there, and obviously just brightens it up, makes it more of a yellowy color to the pattern itself. So Pastel works with Monarch. If you want to go the bright route, you can do that, but the dark route is kind of where my heart lies. Taking a look at this Pastel Sugar Monarch, again, you have these nice bright violet plums coming in, but the sugar itself brings in another layer of contrast. White. It kind of eliminates the pattern, but the brown only so much. So that kind of stays the course and holds, but it does get affected. The white, though, you can clearly see on the pattern where the yellow would normally be. It just starts to be eliminated and bring in those whites. It's just another cool animal with just a different level of contrast that you normally wouldn't think of possibly. I don't always like sugar and calico and everything, and I'm not even sure I really like it a ton in Monarch, but this animal is cool. It's a very unique, awesome animal that brings a lot to the table. Now, where do you go from here with sugar in the mix? I don't know, but there's definitely some people who probably work sugar and calico, which do kind of the similar things, but this is probably my favorite one that I've ever seen, just because it maintains those nice dark colors on the back of it. Another version with Pastel in it would be the Enchi Yellow Belly Monarch Pastel. I can't get over these beautiful purples, really, that are coming in on this animal, and now when you have Enchi in the mix along with Yellow Belly, those two always work very well together. They are really creating a beautiful contrast and creating tiger stripes along the snake rather than your normal patterns. A lot of different variety in here. Looks like you got some X's and whatnot. Very cool animal. All right, obviously we're a little concerned about these two. The first one dried out very quickly. It is very dry, but these are at least have water, and then they have a semblance of a snake that has formed. It's just that their yolks are in there and they're very small. So these top ones I'm a little bit more optimistic about, but honestly with the bad start, I gotta admit, I'm a little concerned about everything. Well, there we go. I don't like the way it's sitting up, but because that's its umbilicus cord right there, you can see it. But I believe everything is okay here. Yeah, I think we're good. I like this blushing that comes up here. Cool pattern. But obviously we'll have to wait. So obviously these are het Pieds, het Monarch. So they are very powerful, and I plan to keep some and sell the rest. So I'm You know, obviously I'm a little concerned, you know, with what I'm seeing here, but we'll see what happens with those other two. Getting into the first double recessive, the Monarch genetic stripe. Monarch genetic stripes were the first Monarchs. They popped out of a combo from two what was called dirty pastels, but ever since then, it's been a very popular combo. Genetic stripe doesn't get enough praise. It deserves to be worked a lot more in my opinion, but it really just localizes the brown stripe down the back. Obviously you do have one stripe going down the middle, but it really just looks like two, just because the stripe in the middle is very similarly colored. You can see it's a little bit brighter than the sides. There's lots of other variety I've seen in genetic stripe Monarch, but just a different kind of look to it. Another really popular and interesting morph of the Monarch would be the Mojave Monarch, in this case a Pastavi Monarch. Now you do lose some of the darker colors, which again I said I prefer, but it's a different flavor of what you normally see. Lots of cool brights in there, lots of shading. Definitely a unique snake that you really do not see anywhere else. Now let's take a look at the Monarch Pied. There are other Monarch Pieds without any other genes in it. This one has fire and yellow belly in it as well from Canova. This is basically some of the ideas of what we're going for here, is just certain Monarch Pied combinations. This one again is very bright. That's mostly because of the fire, but you can kind of see it here without the fire, even with just pastel. You get a lot of these crazy blown up pattern that the Pied brings in there, and that characteristic brown, even though it is lightened up, just makes the animal look so incredibly vibrant and spotty and leopardy, almost like it's dancing with some monsoon when the pattern is showing. This one feels the best of all of them. Well, that's a good looking one. That's a real good looking one. Better looking than the last. I like the granulation that's coming up in there. Doesn't look like a normal pattern. And then of course it tapers off near the tail. Very true to what you see in Monarchs. This one looks good though. Big one. Alright, last one. This one's a little more dry, but not as dry as the first ones. I just find it crazy that that whole side had issues. That doesn't even make sense. Alright, we got another good looking one here. We got its little head there too. Hey there, buddy. Nice top pattern. Look at that. It's almost like an alien head on top of the snake. That's an alien head on the spine. That's the spine right I'm touching of the snake, rather than on the side. See, look, there's your normal alien head right there, and then there's one on the spine. That's real cool. Good one to end it on, considering that we didn't start good. If you've noticed so far that there's not a whole lot of things being worked in Monarch, that's because you are right. It's because it's still in its infancy. There's still a lot that can be done, which is super exciting. There's so much that it works well with, but yet people have yet to release, at the very least, a lot of these combinations. But recently Canova put out a video showing kind of light versus dark Monarch. And here you can see the orange stream yellow belly Monarch Pied versus the same thing with fire. I believe in this video Justin says that he likes the one without fire, and I would tend to agree, because you have more orangey colors. You have that purple showing in quite a bit better, and you can really see the difference when Monarch's in it versus when it's not in it. Really brings a cool flavor, turns those blacks into this bruised plum color. And finally, it took me a little bit to find one, but this right here is just a Monarch Pied, a very low white one at that. But you can kind of see how just the double recessive alone and by itself, honestly, I like it more than the combination with fire. Nothing wrong with the fire. I just prefer the deep, dark, saturated colors without fire. That's the only thing that I wouldn't even say that Monarch doesn't work well with, but I feel like it does take away from the mahogany browns and the purples that it really brings in, the nice bright yellow oranges. These two work very well together. Monarch and Pied work incredibly well together, because Monarch brings in all these beautiful colors, and so does Pied. Pied brings in a lot of oranges and such like that. Next, you can see the fire mahogany Pied. Going even further, as an example between the light and dark sides that you can get with Monarch Pied, you can see the fire mahogany Pied versus the mahogany yellow belly Pied, and look at that. That is absolutely stunning. I can't get over the level of contrast and the busy pattern that you're getting here. Lots of contrast and almost riding down the top of the snake, which I think is really important. I've talked about this in the past. If you can get pattern on the top of the snake, it just looks better. It's not like it's not on the sides as well, but now when you're looking down on that snake, which is just what you're normally going to do when you look inside the enclosure, you can appreciate it that way. If you're looking for a display animal as a seller, well, this certainly displays a lot better as well. well. This would easily be my favorite Monarch pied that I have seen. The saturation is insane. And we'll end it off with what is easily my favorite Monarch that I have ever seen. And that would be the Spotnose Monarch Clown. Double recessive with just one extra gene. This takes the cake. There's so much going on here, and the fact that it brings it into the head, it really turns these plum-like colors up a notch. You are absolutely right on the verge of purple. Obviously not a royal purple, but you are getting that plum color. When I saw this snake right here, I knew my choice right then and there for an investment morph when I wanted to get into ball pythons. Had to be Monarch. All right, so we wanted to update you. It's been a little over a week. I went on vacation. They all came out of their egg, and they're all okay, more or less. There are 3 that are of pretty good size. They're about to have their first shed. They have not shed yet. You can see this one here is very good. You can even see that het Monarch kind of coming in right there. This is how they always say that tapers off near the tail. That's what I just keep saying. So I believe what I determined earlier is that I have 2 females and 3 males. Well, that one's obviously a male, and I'm not sure if I'll keep any males, to be honest, because I'd like to buy one with an extra gene in there. Kind of diversify the gene pool that I have. Probably release all the males. I might keep one. I'm at least keeping 1 female. There's another male right there. And if you ever want to see how to pop, maybe we'll make a whole video on that, but just gently put your thumb there. You kind of sort of pull back while you put your thumb here. You just roll it forward. It's easy once you know how to do it. It takes some practice, and of course you don't want to hurt your animal because you could potentially hurt it pretty bad. And then this should be the female of the normal sized ones. Again, these are all 100% het Monarch, 100% het pied. Yep, this is my female. She is going to stay here. There's no doubt on that. This is going to be a future breeder and hopefully going to produce some Monarch pieds for me. So she's staying here. And then when you watched our video, one of them had dried out. I don't know why. 3 of them were kind of just weird, but you can see them here, the other 2 that just were very, very small. But I think they're gonna be okay. This is the smallest one. I was so concerned with it because it was so small. It's 21 grams when I weighed it. I'm not gonna weigh it right now because I don't want to mess with it. The smallest animal I have ever produced, right here. I will put it in my palm of my hand so you can kind of see. Look at that, like a juvenile hognose size. Crazy. I was so concerned because it was so small, but then also its stomach was very empty. There's kind of a difference. So you look at this one here, I'm not as concerned about it. It's also very small, 10 grams heavier, but I'm not as concerned because look at that fat belly kind of. Small, clearly, but I can feel that it absorbs the yolk. I don't know why it ended up so small, and I'm still concerned, but I'm far less concerned. Looking at this one, I was so concerned, I decided to offer it a pinky, a live pinky mouse, and it ate it. It took it and ate it. It's already had its first meal and it hasn't even shed yet. Not something I'd normally do. I wait till they shed, but it ate, and it's the smallest one. Look at it. It's got a feisty attitude, and this is the second time I've had a very, very small one. The first one we showed our video off was this Batman that I'm keeping, and look at him now. He used to be the smallest one I ever created. He's now the biggest out of all of his clutch. Still got obviously some growing to do. He's still a hatchling very much. So I hope that we have a story like that with this one. I am still way more concerned, but a lot of my fears have been alleviated because it ate, and you can see it's got a little bit of swell in its belly there. I'm very hopeful, and I had to guess I think it'll be okay, but I can't guarantee that because it's still very, very little. This one here next to it, I think is going to be fine. But the other one, again, having that first meal was a big thing.
Today we're bringing you an egg cutting, and not just any egg cutting. While it might not be the most explosive genetics on the planet, it is important to me because this is the first time that a snake that I have raised has laid eggs. So I didn't buy this mother from anybody. I rose her up. Now she's not the first snake I ever hatched out. I actually have that one, and those are due very, very soon. But this is the first time a snake that I decided to keep has laid, and she just so happens to be a pied albino. I like to make this combo every single year because they're just so unbelievably beautiful. Before we get into it, I already explained the female, but the pairing was a pied albino female. Well, I kind of had 2 pairings because I thought that one of the males was kind of not doing the job perfectly, but it was either an albino het pied or a Candino het pied. Not confusing at all. Well, I'll be able to tell after a while because if I see Candinos, well then I know which one happened because a Candino is an allelic combo between the Candy gene and the albino gene, and for whatever cool reason, they exist on the same genome as what I believe it is, and they combine and create a visual example that is somewhat similar to the albino or the Candy, except that it's a little more lavendery looking, and their eyes typically are a tad darker and not quite as bright. We might be able to tell right off the bat if we hit one of those, but there's a good chance we won't. Usually it starts to come in after they shed. Regardless, everything will be albino or Candino depending on which one side of the clutch, and 50% of the time I'm going to be getting pied. So I have a fairly high chance of getting albino pieds here, or candino pieds, whichever. Without wasting any more time, let's go ahead and see what we got. Let's go ahead and get started here. So I like to wait until 1 pips, which is usually around day 55. It's actually day 57, and I looked in there and 1 had pipped this morning, and I already knew what it was. Well, I knew partially what it was. It's what everything has to be. And you'll notice there is 1 very likely bad egg in here, which we're gonna save why this one went bad most likely for another video. So we still have 6 good eggs here, which is pretty good. Here's the one that pipped this morning. So let's go ahead and take a look at it first. Pattern is good. I would say this is, yeah, it's definitely an albino pied. Or candino pied, whichever. I love producing these. They're so unbelievably gorgeous. A lot of people think albino is just some yellowish snake, but you can see the oranges in here. I don't know if that's something that passes along. This is a big snake too. Absolutely awesome. Now obviously we won't know if this is a male or female, but we definitely got one and it looks very healthy and very awesome. I'm hoping to get a lot of this, honestly. Very exciting start. All right, let's go with the one that if there is another issue, it would be out of this one. I don't think there is, but it's definitely going to be the smallest one. This one we think started to go bad, but we actually ended up changing some things around. We had gotten a new incubator, which, surprise surprise, is going to be the topic of the new video, and we realized that we had made, well, a bit of a boo-boo, but we changed one simple thing and boom, it looks like it recovered. So, and yeah, snake looks good to me, I think. A tail on top of its head. But yeah, another albino pied. This one not as clear and distinct, I think, but it's definitely very nice. More of it is underneath this orangey goop. Wait a second. I think I started twisting this so much that I thought I saw a head over here and over here. Yeah, no, I thought I had twins because I'm sitting here turning it, and then I'm like, wait, there was a head on the other side. It looks to be fine. And it responds to the poke test a bit. Yep, it's kind of bucking up there. I want to make sure I didn't see it again, because it almost looks like a tail right there too, but no, I know what I'm looking at. That's actually, I don't know why the hell I thought that was a tail. I think we're good here. This is the only one that I would have been slightly more concerned about. Of course, I won't know for sure until it comes out. Yeah, I think it's good. And I think another albino pied. There's 4 left. You want to do a draft? I mean, realistically, it's just about whether you hit pied or not.
Sure.
All right, cool. You go first.
The one in the middle.
The one in the middle with a little bit of water on it. It's bucking up right here. It's already out of its thing. This is why I like to move in and do this. I did a whole video on why I think this is still a good idea overall, but maybe you should probably wait until 1 pips. There's a chance that they can't get out of their egg, but it is enough of a chance that I think it's definitely worth it. There's also a chance that they have twisted umbilical cords. That is the #1 way that they pass away. All right, here's your first pick. The pattern definitely is promising for pied. I don't see any for sure white splotches, but then again, I mean, sometimes they're high white and they're high pattern. Well, that looks a little bit more like a normal pattern right there, but just here on the back. No, there's more pattern here. It's a funky pattern though. Don't see enough to make me say this is pied for sure. Sometimes they taper off near the tail. It looks like there's pattern moving up like right there. It's just a funky pattern. I don't know, this could go either way, but I don't see any for sure white splotches that can tell me if this is pied. It is what it is. I don't want to really dig any deeper on it. For now, I'm going to say that one is not pied. This one's still got a lot of fluid in there. I can feel it moving around in there. I knew it was going to be goopy. I'm going to say pied. The pattern is just way too goofy there, and I think that there's a blotch right there. Yeah, that's enough of a blotch, plus the white tip on the tail. That is a pied. So what are we at right now? 3 for sure. 1, probably not, but maybe. All right, your turn.
The bottom one.
Bottom one. If you don't hit, you lose. I do not think this is a pied. Pattern is way too in there. Well, I win this round.
Rigged.
Yes, because I can definitely see what I got. So 2 of them that are not, 3 that are so far. The last one, let's get greedy here and go for more than 50%, right? I'm gonna say yeah. Well, I don't know. You see all the dots and all that stuff? That's not normal pattern. And again, another white tip tail. Yeah, this has got to be one just crazy. Low white. They wouldn't have this pattern if it wasn't it. Bucking up on me right now already. People think Pieds always have a bunch of the white splotches on them, but that's not the case. This pattern right here is more of a dead giveaway to me than, well, I guess the white splotch is definitely a dead giveaway. So let's take a look at the first one you did. I was still on the fence about that one. I see enough pattern. He or she has not really moved around in there. I don't know. This could go either way. Either way, I picked two, and I know for sure the other one is not. All right, it's been I think about a week since we filmed the video of the cutting of these. Some of them have obviously started to shed, and you can start to see how awesome these really look. Looking at these, you know, obviously it needs to shed a few more times for me to be sure, but I'd say this is an albino pied, not a candino, and we've already determined a few of these. That one there is a boy. It takes a while for me to learn to do this, by the way. There's very little bit of pressure here, and then just kind of a pull back. You see what I'm doing there? Not even really pulling back so much as pushing down. That kind of pulls back, and then this thumb here kind of goes down and rolls around the thumb, minimally invasive as possible to this little dude. This one here is just a albino or candino. Again, has not shed yet, and looks to be a boy. I think I got a boy heavy one here. I already sexed some of these. I just can't remember, honestly. And I'll start putting them away probably tomorrow, honestly, in their own little bins. Just want to give a few more a chance to shed. It looks like only two have so far. Not that they can't shed in their bins. I just like to give them a chance. So this one here, another boy. And this one is a pied. Very low white pied, but you see it right there. That pattern would not be the way it is if it was not. Hard to again say for sure if it's a albino and candino. I do believe though, just from looking, that I think that the albino had pied did this clutch. I think this is the one I just did, right? I don't know, start scooching over there. Stop paying attention. Yeah, that's a boy. And we did very good odds on this one. Here's the other one that shed. You can just always tell. Like, look at the difference. See the sheen that the camera even picks up with the light? That's not normal. That's because they still have their prelay shed on. It's a very weird feeling. Again, another albino or candino pied. I believe this one will be albino, but without a few more sheds, you can never be 100% sure. But I'm pretty certain that's the case. Another boy. Bunch of boys so far, but I know I got some girls. I think the last two are girls. And one albino pied or candino pied has not shed yet still. Another very low white one, but I like a little bit more white typically, but I do love the pattern on these. I just like it to kind of show it a bit better. And then this one we've got a girl on, so that's cool. And then this one is either candino or albino and a girl. So yeah, I was correct on those. Ow! What the heck, man? As you can see, nothing. It's more of an owl-like surprise. That's where it got me. And it's just nothing. Sometimes, I mean, think about it. This thing was just born. Here I am, pushing down on their private parts. And it's like, dude, I was just born. Leave me alone. They can be like that for just a little bit when they're first born, so I forgive you. But I'm pretty happy with this one. Obviously nothing too out of the wall crazy here. Nothing that I didn't expect, I suppose. But they're always very beautiful. And you know, obviously when we start doing some more stuff, we've just actually already cut the eggs for them. We haven't released that video yet, but man, when you see that video, whew, I'm very excited about the next one of these that we bring you. Today we're going to be bringing you a really exciting egg cutting. We already have some pips. I always like to wait until at least one pips, and we are on day 56. I won't usually cut any earlier than day 55, but before we get into the actual cutting, let's talk about it. We paired our GHI Spotnose clown that is 100% head hypo to our banana clown, which we were told could also be possible leopard. I'm not certain of that, but maybe we'll get that answer here today. It's very unlikely. You don't always see everything when you're cutting. So from this pairing, we could get any manner of the genes that I had mentioned, but everything will be 100% clown because it's clown to clown. And everything will be 50% het hypo. Now that's important because I've started to create projects with clown hypo, and I definitely would like that because then I can go in that direction to create some really cool things and have hypo in the mix as well. The other thing, if it proves out as leopard, is I could hit Batmans and banana Batmans, which is known as the Scarecrow, or I've also heard the Scarecrow just be Spotnose banana Batman, so I don't know. Either way, they're all cool. And GHI I absolutely love. It's one of my favorite genes. Spotnose and banana work great together, and banana clowns are really what made me say, like, I gotta make that. Another thing to keep in mind for these is that the female is banana, and if you know anything about the banana gene, that's very important, because if the male was banana, it would very likely be male maker, which means all of the bananas would be male most likely. Or the flip side is that could have been female maker, and then the opposite happens, almost all of them female. But since it's a female, it behaves like a regular gene, and that is incredible because I would like to get more females this time
around. But without further ado, let's get right into the egg cutting. All right, I am very, very excited about this one. I love banana clowns. Banana clowns are what got me into all of this. You can see actually 2 of them have pipped. I saw one of their heads earlier and I'm very excited. Now there were 6 of them. You can see one of them, yeah, there's no hope for this one. And I had written out banana, but one of the bananas went bad. I'll leave this one to the side for now. We're gonna go ahead and just get started after I clean a little bit of this mold off my hands.
No, it's just banana now.
It is. You know what? I'm gonna break my rules. I usually start with the ones that are already cut, but I'm not gonna do that. We're gonna start in order. Alrighty. Not a banana, but it is definitely a GHI clown. There's his head. I think we might get Spotnose in here. Really cool pattern right there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the exact copy of the dad, although we'd never know about the head hypo until he gets tested. That is definitely a GHI clown, and I think we might be getting lucky on the Spotnose there as well. A lot of that pattern kind of tells me that. I can kind of sort of see the head. He has not come out of his embryonic sac. I don't know if that's the technical term for it, but they're actually in a little sac in here as well. And once they break that sac, now they need oxygen. So sometimes they can't get their way out of here, and that's kind of what we're looking for really. Otherwise, we're just gonna leave this one alone. It looks super awesome though. Ooh, you're out. There's a lot of pushing here. I'd be very surprised if it wasn't out, because I can feel it flexing against it. Heck yeah. Now that is awesome. The lavenders on this one. Do not see the head, but I think we're all good here. Can still see the umbilical cord. Oh, yeah, there's movement there. Now you see that blood and stuff there. Some people think like, oh my God, that's the veins that were on the top of the egg that was feeding oxygen into the snake. It is not anything bad. Might look a little nasty, but it is perfectly fine. I mean, you can see even on this egg here, where it cut itself out, there's blood because it sliced through the vein on its own. But yeah, I would have to say this one, obviously banana clown. I'm not sure if it's anything else. It could be GHI. I don't know. I need to brush up on my GHI banana clowns. I thought that they had a little more whites coming into them, but maybe not. Not certain about the Spotnose. Not seeing enough here to tell me if it's that. But still, banana clown, that is a win right there. Back to the A's. Another one pushing real hard. Oh, now that is a GHI. This is 100% a banana GHI clown. You can see it's still got its embryonic sac there. Get that vein out of the way. Doesn't look like anything's twisted, even though that looks a little gnarly there. Really, I'm just looking about it going over the body. And I think this one could be Spot. Oh, yeah. I think it's Spotnose. You can see its little head coming out. I think it might be. When it comes out, I don't know for sure. But a lot of times, some of the giveaways are obviously on the nose. I mean, that's part of the thing, right? But not always. I've been told that the pattern can create less of the alien head and more of these loops. But there are some here, so I need to see it all the way out to be for sure. But there's no doubt that this is a GHI. Maybe it isn't Spotnose. Maybe it is. I don't know. That one actually does look like an alien. Look at that one. Yeah, see it? That legitimately looks like a little alien right there. Oh, hello.
Oh, he covered it.
Yeah, he did, but you've seen it. You kind of still see it there. Very awesome. This is some of the coolest stuff. Like I said, banana clowns are really what just made me go, holy cow, when it came to ball pythons. This is incredible. I love this animal right here. I'm kind of hoping for some, like maybe one male that's just nutty and then the rest of them being females after that, obviously. I'm very happy with what I've seen so far. And considering what I see already, I think that that trend is going to continue. Now that's a Spotnose. There's no doubt in my mind. This is what I'm talking about when I said the pattern being kind of these loops. I guess I should say no doubt in my mind. That's a typical snake breeder right there. As I'm looking at it through a small little cut in the top of it. I feel like this one will be a Spotnose. Although now I see the nose, I don't know. But another banana clown regardless. I think it is going to be Spotnose. This is incredible. This is my first time, by the way, creating banana clowns like this. This is very cool to me. Just one of the older morphs that's just so awesome. All right, let's see about this one. I don't know. I think we are lucky. Another GHI, I'd say. I think. Definitely banana clown. There's a lot of goop up here. I don't want to mess with it too much, but there's definitely some action there. This is, I think, it might be it. I don't know. Again, I'd have to see him out of there, but hitting these odds today, I am incredibly happy. I've been looking forward to doing this one for quite some time. Obviously, we didn't do good with losing one here. That's no good. But I am incredibly happy with 4 out of 5, basically, that were bananas. I would say I hit good odds. And I definitely think this is GHI, just with that stuff. Here's the other one that I know that I'm just positive. Yeah, they are the same. I don't think we could see this guy's face, could we? His head's right there, though. You can see his nose. Very, very, very cool. I can't wait for them to be out of their eggs.
All right, they have all hatched out at this point and come out of their eggs, and most have shed other than this one. So I'm gonna show them off one at a time here. And this little one here is a male, and it is a GHI Spotnose Clown. Everything here is 50% het hypo as well. So he's pretty much a carbon copy of his dad. He's really cool. I really like these types of snakes. They have a lot of awesome like shadowing and contrast in terms of that. Just the coloring is the only thing really missing, but even then it really has this nice shadowing just kind of coming up in there. And then the patterns themselves are very granulated. Just hasn't shed. He was the last out of the egg too, so he's just the late snake. You see the white spots up there? It looks pretty interesting, but really it was rubbing up against the top of it when he was in the egg box with his clutch mates. So that'll go away with the first shed. And then next would be what I believe to be just a banana clown. I had really good odds on this one. They were pretty much all banana. Now, I haven't discounted this one being a low expression GHI, but I don't think it is. There's a little bit of evidence that it could be, but very cool. I love banana clowns in general. They're so awesome, especially as babies. This is a female here. Very bright, very vibrant. Lots of nice oranges and purples mixed with these yellowy orange tints. It's so awesome. The head on this one is chaotic too. Usually they have some sort of pattern. It's symmetrical to an extent sometimes. This one is not. Like in the head, in the front it is, but then it loses it in the back. Very awesome, beautiful looking animal here. This one here is a Spotnose banana clown. Also a girl. The Spotnose banana clowns are so nice just because how vibrant that Spotnose really makes it. It really brings in just a different color palette in my opinion, and kind of thins out the stripes. It kind of turns them into these little circles, and they're like these thin little O's kind of just shooting up on it. This one is got a spicy little attitude. This one actually gave my son his first bite. Oh, did it try to do something there?
Yeah, it did.
To what? Yeah, this one's spicy, which is good because it also is the only one it ate on its very first week, which was like the next day that I put them away. Very, very beautiful. She is probably gonna get the size pretty quick because of that. And they just have this nice, beautiful, like, I feel like it merges differently. In a way, this is some of the better, this better one. You see how the oranges are kind of in between the purple, as opposed to like our last one here. You can definitely see when they're side by side. But there's more lavenders in this. The oranges are a little more subtle, and I think they're both awesome. I do tend to lean more towards the Spotnose in this case, however. Now we're getting into the really nice ones. So the last two we're going to show you here are boys, and this one here is a banana GHI, and I believe Spotnose clown. Everything's clown to clown, so you can kind of see the little circles there. That's why I believe it is Spotnose. I'm still getting perfected in terms of what is a Spotnose and what is not in some cases, but most of them do have that singular pattern. However, there are some things that give me doubt on Spotnose, like right there, so I'm not 100% positive just at this moment. I kind of got to think about that. I got another one here. However, this one I'm less inclined to believe is Spotnose, but I do think it might still be. It's not quite as thin, but you can see on here we definitely more alien heads. But all in all, I'm very happy. I wanted GHI banana clowns, and I got a couple here, and they're both males. I definitely wanted a female. I don't know if I have any interest in males other than them being so awesome. What I really like here is that you have more of an orange coming out, and it's a different kind of hint of it. I feel they're kind of different from each other a little bit too, just in terms of how much orange. This one has far more orange. You can see splotches of just like white popping up inside of it though, just adding so much contrast to that shading. Look at the whites that pop in. When they pop in, it's so perfect where they do it. It just adds this exoticness that you're getting here. I really like this clutch. Very, very happy with it, just in terms of just pure looks. Today we're going to be doing an egg cutting again. You'll notice I have a different mic here. That's because my mic broke. This one is going to be producing some double hets. However, they do have a little bit more to them. This is a Monarch to a Clown Super Pastel Russo. So every single one of these babies is going to be pastel, and 50% of the time we're going to get Russo. Obviously, I'm setting myself up for the future here. I hope to get, well, mostly females. That's what I want, but I do need a male, and I really don't care where it goes. I want Russo to come along for the ride, but only in one of them, and it is a very subtle gene. If I can't tell, I might need to send in shed tests. I cannot keep two
Russos. And the reason for that is very simple, because I'm trying to make a visual Monarch clown here in 3 years. Wouldn't it be a big punch in the gut to wait all those years only to create an all-white snake? That's what would happen if I got 2 Russos in some combos. So I don't want that in this case. I do want 1 copy, because it is an incredible enhancing gene, especially in combos where a lot's going on. It does a lot to kind of clean that up, but not 2 of them. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. You're gonna notice that there's a towel here. That's what I'm told is a shock mount for when I go like this, so you don't hear banging. These are, I think, on day 57. But either way, there's a couple that have pipped at least. And they are. It's like 3 of them have pipped. You notice I have a little bit of a theme here. They're clowns, well, they're hets, and they're monarchs. So in all of my corny humor, I decided to name half of them after clowns and half of them after monarchs. Let's go ahead and go with Queen Victoria, because this snake does not look comfortable right now. You are stuck, aren't you? Oh my. Yeah, you are stuck. All right, let's help you out here. You're pushing too, so that's kind of a problem. So you can get their head through, but they can't get their heads. There we go. Oh, that's much better, isn't it? Alright, Queen Victoria. Very nice. If I had to guess, this would be a Russo. Russo is subtle, but very nice. Very dark blacks. I do like the, honestly, just the pastels when they first come out are so nice. But I think this one is going to be Russo. This one is huge. Look at how gigantic that is. For a hatchling, how is this one animal? Here's its head. See it down there in the goop? It stuck it way down there. It's like, I'm never going out again. That was terrible. Alright, we'll leave it be. It was probably very unhappy. Now we had a monarch. Let's go to a clown, and that would be it. Okay, these are absolutely enormous eggs. If I had to guess, this one's just pastel. So you can kind of see the difference here. Like, you see that there's no flaming coming up there. This one's also a little bit more light. I don't know if the camera's picking that up. That one's got more of an orangey. This one's a little bit lighter. But if I had to guess, this one is the Russo here, the Victoria. I could be wrong though. Needless to say, I'm gonna send some in to be 100% positive. So we did a clown. We'll just go in order here. So this is King William. There's a lot of English. There's only... In fact, there's 3 English monarchs here, and then just Catherine from Russia. This one's gonna be Goopy. Huge. I'm just poking immediately right at us. Hello. I'd say just a pastel here, if I had to guess again. But I could be wrong. It's kind of difficult to see when they're in their eggs right now. But it's just more yellowy, less creamy than their first one. Very blushed out head, too. And they might not look like a whole bunch of specialness right here, but think about the potential in the future for what these are going to do. These are going to make Monarch clowns. When I first saw a Monarch clown, I said, yep, I love Monarch. Not that I didn't like Monarch by itself. I love Monarch by itself, but that's what set it over the top, was watching all the combos it was doing well in, and then I saw a specific snake from Canova. He made a Spotnose Monarch clown. That thing was just insane. That is the combo I've been chasing. Ideally, just now that we're halfway through, what I'd like to do is I'd like to keep some females from this, and I'd like them to have Russo in them. And then ideally, I'd like to buy a male with some extra genes, like Spotnose, for example, and maybe some other things too. I'd love mahogany in that mix, maybe chocolate or Wookie, something along those lines, something a little more of a darkish tone. They are expensive, so I don't know if that's gonna happen. So I do need a male as well. So ideally, I'd like to keep the females, because they might stay with me for a while. They have Russo, and the male can just not have Russo, because he'll only be with me to make the pairing if I have to stick with what I have here, and then I'll sell him as an opportunity for someone else to do the same thing I'm doing here. All right, Harleen Quinzel, back in there so I can cut you out. See the whites creeping up there? I really like this one. Got some granulation in there. Floating alien heads. I really like this one. This is, without a doubt, in my opinion, a Russo. Pastel Russo at that. And then double head Monarch clown. So I hope it's a girl. This one's very sharp. Really like it. There's its little head. Yeah, I'm really liking this one. Now we'll move on to Catherine the Great, who is very much pushing up against this. Come on, come out for us. Is that you right there? Is that your head? Somewhere around here. I don't know if this is you or this is your head. So it might be a little bit goopy as well. It's awesome to feel them moving and bucking up against this. have to say just the Pastel, just from first glance anyways. These have some great contrast to them. They're just pastels. They do massively change as they grow though. So don't kid yourself. They will brown out, but I'm not worried about how these snakes look. I'm worried about how their babies will look, because that is what we're after. Alright, Joker, it's your turn. I seen you keep peeking out. Also another one with this kind of cool like granulation and whatnot. I'd say this is another Russo. So hopefully you are a girl, Joker. Yeah, you can definitely see how the flaming comes up in between the pattern kind of. That doesn't mean anything for sure, but there's a difference here. I'm starting to get better at identifying this, and I believe that that is what the difference is Russo. Another one that's incredibly goopy, and there's the spine right there. You can see it. Look at that. That is a snake right there. That's so cool. I'll never get over it. Now move, please, so I can get in. And help you get out. This might be the goopiest one of them all. I'll take extra special care. I say that and then I squeezed it. This is so goopy that I don't really want to mess with it that much. Some cool little spots. The pattern is just really nice. I don't know why the pattern's like this. Look at that. Stretches over the top. Very black and dark. Look up there. So awesome. I'd say Russo if I had to guess, but I don't know, because up here it didn't look like it. There's an incredible amount of contrast on these ones right now. Very, very nice. That was Henry. King Henry.
Okay, so now we're going to do our update video. They've been put away for a little while now, and they've had their first sheds. They don't look too crazy, but they're all 100% het for Monarch and het for Clown, which makes them very special. They could potentially make some crazy things. So everything is pastel. Comes from a killer clown. In fact, comes from this girl, and she's pretty nice for a pastel. Even though she's a killer clown, they do tend to brown out. Now, the reason why she's nice is because of that Russo. The Russo gene keeps her a little bit cleaner, and she's actually even brighter in person. I see on the camera here it shows a little bit darker, but it's pretty bright. And it is a little darker here, no doubt, but not that much. You can see her sides are pretty creamy, but everything she passes has to be pastel, and that is what happened. We got all pastel, but this is one of her babies, and I believe it's a girl. I thought I had more males. I am confident now I have more females, which is great. Out of 7, I think I got 4 females and 3 males. So let's just make this easy. Everything is pastel, everything is het Clown, and everything is het Monarch. So really, it's just a question of did we hit Russo or not? And Russo was incredibly subtle, and I'm still trying to learn. So there's a little bit more flaming, and then when it's in a normal, they're typically a little bit brighter. So if we go by flaming, there is some of that here that's coming up on both sides. I am not 100% confident, but I am believing that this is a probable Russo pastel double het Clown Monarch. Look at this one. It actually is a little bit brighter than our last one. Let me actually bring that one back out real quick. Let's see the camera. I think it shows it just a bit. You can kind of see it right there. I don't know. Maybe you can't on the camera anyways. I believe it's a little bit brighter, a little bit cleaner. There is a little bit of granulation in there though, and I've heard that that can happen with Russo. And there's some flaming coming up from the sides. Russo's so subtle that I'm not as confident in any of these. I'm pretty confident on this one though. The one we just showed, that was another girl. Here's another one right here. She's very clean, very nice, very bright. The flaming, there is some of that. That sometimes can happen on any snake. I mean, let's look at this normal I have right here. Look, you got some stuff jumping up from the belly right there. Not as much though. You can see the flaming is far crazier, but I'm just trying to put in contrast that just because you see some indicators, don't bet the farm on it, I guess is what I'm saying. Now I'm going to send it, like I said, a lot of these in for shed testing. It just kind of makes sense because for one, I'm going to keep some of these, and 2, I don't want to keep 2 Russos. That would be very bad if I got the double visual and it was an all white snake, because Russo is a blue-eyed leucistic complex gene. 2 copies will create what I believe they called the white diamond, and I'd have an all white snake that could potentially be, well, one of the most expensive snakes. So I believe all of those females are Russo. Now, here's our first male. He's kind of just looking pastel-y. Look at the sides. I'm not seeing any flaming really. There's a little on this one. Just a bit. Look right there. Just one, but I showed you on the normal it had just one. Maybe a little bit right there too. And he's not as bright. So he's possible, but I don't think he is. Here's our last female here. There is some flaming on the side, but not as much on our last one. So again, possible, but I'm not confident on that one at all. I'm far more confident in the first 3 females we showed you. There's another one. Got some flaming. I don't know about brightness, but there is some flaming there. So I'm more confident on this boy here being a Russo. I think all of my boys, other than maybe one of them, will be available. Here's my last male right here. There's some granulation. I've heard that very subtle granulation can be an indicator of it. Some flaming. Cool pattern on this one, but not so much on the other side. Flaming, that is. I would have to probably edge towards no on him, but again, possibly. It's so darn subtle. You know, it's honestly easier to tell when it's by itself. Let's show the dad. I love showing him off anyway. So here is the dad right here. He is a male Monarch. He's a full-grown boy, and he still looks amazing. There's nothing really with a het Monarch that changes anything, other than I hear a lot of times people will say, Tom Harbing himself told me that it looks like they taper off near the tail on the hets. I don't think that's always the case, but I do see it in quite often a lot of the hets. A lot of our het Monarchs that we're growing out have it as well, like a tapering off like you see in the actual Monarch here. But I don't know if that's for sure proven anything yet, but it is something that a lot of breeders have seen, and myself included. Today we're bringing you a pretty exciting egg cutting, because I don't think anybody's ever really experimented with some of the stuff I have now. Before we get into it, I only have 3 eggs. 4 eggs were laid. The first time girl. One of them was a seemingly nice egg, but every now and again you get an infertile egg. Now I'm not talking about a slug here. A infertile egg looks like a regular egg. It's white, it's nice. Just when you candle it, it's all yellow on the inside. So let's get into the pairing before we do this egg cutting. And I use the word egg cutting loosely because we're on day 54. Every single one of them has pipped, and quite frankly 2 of them are out. The female is a bamboo pastel pinstripe 100% het pied, and the male is an Enchi Orange Dream pastel pied that is 100% het lavender. Now I have 2 of these pairings going, one without pastel in the female as well. That one she's about to lay anytime now, so I'm more hopeful for that one to kind of just answer some questions. So the first project that I ever said, I would kind of just want to see what it would happen, and to my knowledge I don't think anybody's ever tried much with bamboo pied, and there's a very reasonable explanation for that. It's because bamboo pieds are often incredibly high white and sometimes completely white. So there's not really a lot of directions to go from there. I just kind of thought, oh, what if I could keep the pattern in the pied? And so I thought a couple of the ways that you can do that are Enchi and pinstripe, of which I've got here both. Now pastel works against me here, but what if I could get a bamboo, Enchi, pinstripe, maybe some orange dream in there too? That would be nice to try to get its pattern back into the animal. Regardless, I'm pretty excited to see what we get, because I think there's going to be some cool results in here. There's only 3 though, so I'm not sure if we're going to get our answers today. So let's go ahead and see what we got. Okay, see what we're looking at here. Very interesting. So you can already see here, they have come out. So let's go ahead and just dive right into this. They're big. This is pretty cool. I mean, look at the different colors. This kind of reminds me of what I love about the Suma or mahogany pieds, how they're different. I don't know if this is paradoxing, honestly, but this is definitely a pinstripe pied. And I'd say Orange Dream and she as well, if I had to guess. There's no bamboo here, I can tell you that much. Unless, what the heck? I know, sometimes pieds get this stuff near their neck. I think this is definitely a paradox. I don't know for sure. They do get this sometimes near their necks, I've noticed. I don't know if that's just a variable paradox that they'll get. You see this, right? How it's just gray, like it turned into Xanthic, or bamboo near its neck, which is weird because it's not bamboo. It's kind of cool to do this right now too, an egg cutting, but it's not. It's just, here's the snake, and we know right off the bat. This is definitely very interesting. And you see that right there, right? The 2 differences. This is a cool looking animal. I don't know if we can find out if this is a boy or a girl yet, but let's go ahead and attempt it. Hard to say. I think there's little things. Could be a boy or girl. I'm not going to mess with it much longer. Usually when they're less squirmy. So that is really cool. Very excited with that. So now you're looking at this, and this is an all white snake, right? I think it has very little eyes. Everything else is fine though. Feel any issues. Every now and then that can happen. You can have some varying eye sizes, especially in pieds. That can happen. I don't see anything else to concern me though. So why would I get an all white snake, right? Well, I already explained it. This is definitely a bamboo pied, and if I had to guess, it's probably going to be pastel as well. Not every bamboo pied does that, but I know for sure it's bamboo pied. Like I just know. If I had to guess, I'd say pastel, but I think that's it. Let's try you too. You're a little more relaxed. I think you're a girl, but I won't know for sure. I like to do it after they shed. So then we got one more here who has kind of peeked out. When I first looked in here, he had not come out. So I wish we could have got it on camera. So let's find out. I mean, looking at his face right now, we know he's on an all white pied. So let's see. But I think he is a pied. This was a visual to a het, mind you. So we got really good odds in terms of that stuff. So let's see what we got. If I had to guess, I see a lot of white. I'm thinking a bamboo pied. Or not. His head does not
Scream bamboo pied, that's for sure. Can't see any real pattern of the body. And don't worry about the blood. That's the natural stuff that's on the egg. You can see it right here. These veins run along the top of the egg, and that's what gives the snake its oxygen and everything from the outside of the egg. Once they break their sac that they're in, not the egg, but the sac that they're inside the egg, they can come out and they need to breathe, which is why we move in with an egg cutting to begin with. This is a huge snake too. These are very big. I'd be very interested to see what they weigh. Some pattern near the tail there. You know, it's been a little while since I've seen what a bamboo pied looks like, so we'll do the update video here. I'm pretty sure they still have a gray head. They look like bamboo in terms of that stuff, so this is gonna be a coincidence. I do see some coloring here. I suspect pastel. That's what I would have to guess right off the bat. I don't know if orange dream would be anything else here. I'd like to see more of the body, see if there's any bit of a pattern kicking in anywhere else. But this is very nuts. Huge animal. Look at that. I mean, you could tell me that there's another snake over here, but no, that's crazy. All right, it has been quite a little bit of time here, and these three have all shed out. So first off, let's take a look at this one right here. One of the most high white snakes I've ever made, and the funny thing is there's no bamboo here. It is pastel pied, no doubt, and I think it might be orange dream if I had to guess. I ain't saying there's no enchi in here, that's for sure. Enchi brings pattern to pied, so I would say no. But look at that, there's a little bit on the tippy tail, and then other than the head, you get a little bit of neck pattern here, which shows some nice oranges. That's why I want to say orange dream, but there's no way I could be sure. It's cool though, and I believe it's a girl. Or no, I don't believe it. I know this one's a girl. It's very funny because I also have these that I made. This is a pied as well. I think it's a super enchi pied. It's at least an enchi pied. I know that. And she brings pattern to pied, and this is 100% a pied. You might look at this and be like, no, it's not. For one, you can always tell from the sides and the belly. It's like bleeding in from the sides into the belly sometimes. And two is from a pied to pied, so it must be pied, and the girl had not been bred. So this one's kind of unique in that, and if you think that's crazy, well, take a look at that. Now, remember the pairing. This was a pastel bamboo. Actually, I don't even know if she was pastel. I don't think she is, but definitely bamboo and pinstripe to a enchi orange dream pastel pied het lavender. Everything here, by the way, is 50% het lavender. But what we're looking at here, without a shadow of a doubt, is a bamboo pied. And if I venture to guess, I'd venture that it is also pastel, but I don't know that for sure. I just know 100% that we're looking at a bamboo pied. It could also be orange dream. I don't think it's enchi, and I don't think it's pinstripe either. The reason for that is enchi brings in pattern, and so does pinstripe to an extent. It kind of solidifies the pattern as a blotch, as we will see. But without a shadow of a doubt, this is a bamboo pied. I love bamboo, but unfortunately it does bring a lot of whites to the game when it comes to pied. And that's kind of the point of this pairing, is that I was kind of hoping that enchi and pinstripe would hit with bamboo so that I could bring more pattern to it. Now I do have one more chance, one more girl I'm hoping will lay here that might be able to answer that. It's just something that I kind of just wanted to answer to see if I could bring pattern to a bamboo pied. Not a decision I'd make anymore. It's one that I decided I wanted to try to do very early on. I unfortunately did not get the answers I wanted. All I did right here was prove that, well, bamboo pieds pretty much create an all white snake, not quite with blue eyes. And on the subject of eyes, this one does have very small eyes. Not like a huge deal. You can see quite fine. They're just kind of teeny little eyes. Definitely smaller than your normal ball python. You know, that will happen. Almost has like a bluish Reddit, but it's not a blue-eyed Lucy. I'll tell you that much. Still really striking and awesome. It's like a different version of that. And there's some power in there to be had if you wanted to work that. The bamboo pieds pretty much, well, they look like that for now, unless I can prove something out. And then our last one here would be this girl here. Before we show off this one here, the last one I believe was a boy, but this is my favorite one in the entire clutch. This one is really, really nice. If it would show itself off, it's going to be shy. Very, very, very pretty. And what we're looking at here is an enchi orange dream pinstripe pied. It is also possible pastel and 50% het lavender. Forgot to mention that technically these came from a girl that was possible het albino, so they're also technically possible het albino. I'm kind of hoping not, because the lavender would be much nicer. So what I really like about this one, you can see the pinstripe influence for one, and what I was talking about. It is enchi as well. At least that's what I believe, with all of this sort of chaotic banding kind of switch, become these little dots rather, other than near the head where you finally get some striping. But the pinstripe definitely is showing itself off, and what I meant earlier by kind of creating like a one color pattern, you kind of see it right there. It's almost like it's just one color, but you can kind of see the difference between a normal pied and its pattern. But look here, what I really like here is just this massive color difference here, almost like a paradoxing, but that just can kind of happen with there. So I really love this one. It's definitely my favorite of them. Cool amount of power in there just for the pied project, especially if she proves out as het lavender. I think that would be really, really nice. I'll probably send her in for a shed test once she sheds not her baby skin. See if she is het lavender, because that would be really cool. cool. Lots of power to be had in that. But yeah, she's definitely my favorite of the entire bunch. But I didn't answer my question. I'm hoping that the next girl lays very, very soon. She's bulked up. She's definitely shown signs that she's going to lay, I would imagine. So hopefully everything goes good and I can get my answer. But I've got like 4 more, I think, in the incubator right now. And then it all starts again. But she's really, really nice. Today we're bringing you some egg cuttings. And you might think that we're bringing you a couple of egg cuttings. But this is all one clutch. 12 eggs from one girl. I've had it happen one other time and it is absolutely insane. And so awesome that you're pretty much getting double what the average ball python lays. The female was a simple het pied. There could have been 2 different males. The first male, and the one that I kind of think probably sided the clutch because he had the most time in there, was a banana pied pastel. The other boy it could have been would have been an Enchi Orange Dream pastel pied het lavender. I'd be okay with either one of these, quite frankly, but I kind of did this pairing just for low level or pet level investment stuff. They sell quite well. So obviously we want to get as many pied as possible. And then other than that, let's just see what happened. Right?
Just a quick bit of news. We actually just launched a Discord server where you're going to be able to come and just kind of interact with the community, help each other out, share a lot of cool pictures of your snakes. We'll put the link down here in the description. Come check it out if you have a Discord. We'd love to have you.
All right, let's go ahead and just start with this one here. This is kind of interesting, by the way. I forgot to mention. This is day 55, and this is the normal cut date. And I checked earlier today. There was quite a bit of pipping, or at least a few in each box too. So, like I said, they continue to hatch a little early for me. And I'm just incubating at 89. Well, I'm pretty sure I already see a banana. Let's just go ahead and get started right here. This one has pipped a little bit of mold on the bottom. That will happen. Oh, see that right there? That is tape. Ever so slightly, when I was getting these eggs apart, because there were so many of them, there was a very small tear. I didn't even notice it at first. I started holding them and it just kind of got ever so slightly goopy, and I put a piece of tape on it. And guess what? It was one of the first to come out. So try not to let it happen, obviously, but if it does, don't despair. It's very nice. I think it's a pastel pied. Big one too. Yep. This is a pastel pied. So got a pied right off the bat. Very, very cool. All right, let's get this one. We already know that it's not a banana. I'd have to say just a pastel. These are pretty big. It did come from a visual pied, obviously, to a het pied. So we know it is 100% het pied though. Molding. I think we've got our first banana right here. This one has made several cuts. Come on, be pied. And it is. I'd say a pastel banana pied. God, these are big. We've had like really big snakes this year. It's really bubbly right now. You can tell the snake has been kind of moving around, breathing in there. So very, very cool. So we know, unless this is some sort of split clutch, that the banana has sired this at this point. And that's really all I'm seeing right now. This one has not come out yet, but I can feel it right there. It is definitely out of its Bredick sac, I'd have to say. It's definitely not pie. I don't want to say pastel though. Could be a normal. I think it's a pastel though because it's pretty dark there. When they come out and I can see its head though, I'll know. Het pied though. Everything here is het pied. This one's just really goopy. Down there I feel something, but this one would probably be the smallest one. Yeah, it was very goopy in this one. Definitely a banana. I'm not seeing something I like here.
You're looking at a deformity here?
I think so. I don't think it's alive either, honestly. I think it died not too long ago. Did you see that discoloration in there? Yeah, I'm not thinking this one is gonna do well, if it's even alive right now. Sadly, this does happen. This is a reality of it. You can kind of see here just this big bulge. So some pretty severe kinking right there. So that's unfortunate. If it is alive, if that is as bad as it looks, that's a snake that will suffer and starve. So we will have to call it if that's the case. And call is a nice word for kill. This one, however, I can kind of feel something moving around in there. There's a perfectly healthy one. Banana het pied. Now this did come from a boy banana, so it's very likely that every single one of these bananas will be a boy. That includes any iteration of it all, whether it's a pied or not, doesn't matter. Well, we got 2 pied, a couple pastels, maybe a normal in there, het pieds, and then a banana het pied, and then unfortunately, not a great one. But let's go ahead and let them go back into their little homes for now. Better luck on this one. Even though I didn't hate the odds in terms of things, I don't like a deformed animal, obviously. You can see here, this one started to get some significant mold on it, but obviously they'll hatch. Just because it starts the mold doesn't mean anything. We're actually going to start it with the one with no slit, because I want to get that out of the way if something bad happened, but I don't think it did. I can feel some flexing in there, so to speak. Goopy. All right, another pied. Or not a pied, but a banana, but I think it is pied too. Yep, very, very cool. I think this one might just be banana pied though. Look at his eye just sitting there. It's probably like, what in the world's happening? Very, very cool. That's what we need more of. Now, literally every other one has pipped. Like I said, there's been a lot of that. So let's go with the moldy one here, right? I think we got a pied right off the bat. I don't know. Maybe I missed all that. I thought I saw some pied pattern. Yeah, that's a pied. I can tell from the pattern. Low white. I don't know about pastel though. Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's just a pied. Maybe it is pastel. I don't know. We'll see it when it comes out. Got your little head there, bud? Hi. Yeah, these are pretty big. I think we got a banana here. Saw a little bit of something. I always find it like more stressful when they've already cut their way out. Because obviously, you know, I go in here like this and I'm pretty careful. And I push up. You can see right there. I'm gonna make sure there's no snake in between the scissors and the egg. So, Jesus Christ, this is so big. I think it's just a banana, maybe banana pastel though. See, at first I saw that and I was just like, oh, there's a pattern, but yeah, no, just a banana, and I think a banana pastel at that. Pied for sure. Just a pied. That is a dark one. It's really pushing up. Come on, dude. Get it out. There we go. Let's do that. Really, really nice. Halloweenish type colors. We are around that time of year. All right, 2 more. Some more banana pieds. Come on. What in the world? That's odd. It's like I think it just bunched it up. It's fine though. Pattern is so odd. I think we got any issue here now. What's like, what is going on with this pattern? Look at that. I don't think this is pastel even. I think this is just the normal. I don't want to mess with it too much. Yeah, it is for sure just the normal, but like, what in the world? I'd never bred that dad before. This is first time. And honestly, I got him and then moved on from him very, very quickly. So I might want to explore that because there's some granulation here. Look at this. If it doesn't move. Ah, it's moving. Well, maybe we got it in there. Either way, that's even weird. Right there. That's a funky pattern. That floating. How in the world? I might need to send this one in for a test. Like a panel. That's wild. Don't know what we're getting here, but let's find out for our very last one. I guess another normal. Maybe they could have that same pattern. That'd be cool. I think this is a pastel. Yeah, it's a pastel. Even this has an interesting little pattern. Yeah, look at that. Interesting. I know there's some questions there.
All right, so we're gonna do a quick update on these as of right now. It's been quite some time, like
Over a month.
yeah. So we're so caught up on other videos and everything like that. So here's our het pied that we got out of this. Is the only one that didn't have some sort of morph. But I also find it one of the more intriguing ones. Look how much the pattern just jumps over the top of it. That's a cool pattern disruption here. But technically it should only be a het pied. But I mean, there was pastel, there's banana pied in the mix, so it's pretty cool, pretty unique. She's got some good size to her. She's been eating pretty well. So we'll go ahead and move on to our next one here, which would be this pastel het pied. This one also being a girl. Nothing too crazy here. There's a little bit of oranging near the bottom, which is kind of unique. Again, some cool wonky pattern in there, but nothing absolutely too out of the ordinary there. Here's another pastel het pied. Again, nothing too crazy or out of the ordinary here. A granulation in this one. I really like how these just don't really look like normal pastels, really. They've had a lot of cool pattern and stuff in them. But again, I have no reason to believe that it is anything but a pastel het pied. Because guess what? Here's another one. Kind of rapid firing through them. I think she is starting shed. Maybe not. A little bit duller here. Again, good size. She's pretty much ready. But look at the pattern again. That's even more wonky than the last one. Kind of makes you think. You know, you saw the last one had more alien heads and stuff like that. But look at that. Like right there, just waving. Look at that. Starts down there. Shoots up. Little land bridge over there. I'm starting to think think that maybe there's something else going on. Maybe the female or the male. The male was only with us a brief period of time. Just got him really quick just to make some banana pies, won't lie. He was with us for about 1.5 years, I think. And then we moved on from him. This one here is a banana pastel head pied. You can always tell, by the way, because the pattern here kind of fades into this peach rather than the yellows, the oranges that you'd get in a regular banana. Apologize for the lighting. We don't set up the entire thing in here when we're just filming little updates because we try to do it real quick. We just want to show them out of their egg. And then one other thing that I wanted to show off actually with her. This is a girl. This was from a male banana, and he's not a female maker because I did get bananas in there that were males. So the chances of getting a female from a male maker are very, very low. I've heard 5%. So it's going to absolutely boggle your mind when I tell you that this isn't even the only one. Yeah, I got 2 females from a male maker with about 5% odds. Now, why can't I get those odds on other things, right? This is a male right here. A pastel banana head pied. He's got some really nice coloring to him. I really like his coloring. You can see any peens there, whereas there was none. Our last one. So we did hit some insane odds. And it not only happened once, it happened twice on the same clutch. That's wild. Like I said, it's heard as 5% chance from a male maker, but I got it twice. We'll get to the other one here in just a bit. Then we just got a nice looking female pied here. Look at the shadowing and shading down here. Really, really incredible. I like high pattern pieds. You can see this one has a little bit. I do like a little bit of a break. That'd be cool if this was a full break and maybe a very small one up there, but still, I like high pattern. Absolutely incredible. It's a really nice one as well, but she is in shed. Nice size to this one. This whole clutch was pretty darn big, to be completely honest with you, from get-go, and they're pretty big right now. They've been eating very, very well. Well, most of them. A couple of them, they're big, but sometimes when they're big, they don't eat. All right, now we're starting to get into some really nice ones here. This is a pastel pied. I love pastel pieds, quite frankly. It blows up the pattern, creates a lot of this cool granulation, lightens them up. Pastel is very, very good with pied. Very, very good. Absolutely incredible what it does to the saddles and the patterns and everything like that. Works very well with it. This is the other one. This is a pastel banana pied. So she's a copy of her father. I wonder if she's gonna let me show it off. I always like the saddles and whatnot on them. And pastel banana pieds are amazing as well. But yeah, as you can see, this is a girl. I can't believe I got 2 of them. And then it proves that it wasn't a female maker all along because I got a male banana as well. But yeah, I really like the way the pastel bananas come out too. You get a little bit of this mixture of this lavender like they normally do, some whites or some yellows, and then just this kind of faded, almost like grayish, purplish type color. It's very cool. This is a really nice patterned one. You get this brief little bit of pattern coming in right there. So, and then this one is phenomenal. This is back to being a boy. So actually I got 2 boys and 2 girls. He's cool as heck. I really love him. You can see all of the craziness happening here. The pattern just blowing up in there. The whites coming in, popping in, almost like merging with this just speckled awesomeness on the side. I really like this one a lot.
Today we're bringing you another egg cutting, and this one is a bamboo Lemonblast. Get this. To a bamboo Lemonblast. I wanted to make all white snakes, and super bamboos are really nice. I think bamboos are the coolest one in all of the blue-eyed leucisticus. It's one of my absolute favorite genes as well. I always will work bamboo, but I don't know into what extent, because even though I love bamboo, I do acknowledge that it is incredibly powerful. And while that might sound good, sometimes it makes it difficult to work in everything. Also, being blue-eyed leucistic, you can't put it to another blue-eyed leucistic unless you want to get the all-white snake, which I obviously do here. But in certain combos, if I'm working, say, clown, I certainly don't want to hit an all-white snake, but there's a lot of cool potential here. Day 55 was a few days ago. I don't recall looking in here and seeing so many out, but not only have they pipped, but there are a significant amount of them out. So this is more or less partially an egg cutting and also just a, here's a snake. So let's go ahead and look at this. Alrighty, let's see. Hopefully we get some white snakes here. I think we got one right there, maybe? I don't know, let's see. We got half of them are out. So let's just start with what we see right off the bat. Obviously we have bamboo, pastel, and pinstripe. People say there is a super pinstripe. If there is, it looks the exact same as a pinstripe. They could be supers. If that's the case, I don't know for sure. But I think right off the bat, I believe what we have here is a super pastel. Oh, I didn't even show. Well, they're out now, so it's kind of hard to show it. It's spelled bamboo. B, I think that was an A, M, boo. That's what it's spelled. But I'm pretty sure we got a super pastel right here. And then there's a little misleading at first when you look at it, but this one here is at least a bamboo Lemonblast. And honestly, I think it's a bamboo, what do you call that? A super blast? Super Lemonblast? Yeah, probably. It's pretty faded out from other ones I've hatched in the past. Pretty light. I'm hoping that as it ages, that darkens, which should pan out. So it would be a bamboo super pastel pinstripe right here. And then this one here, see, this is why I'm starting to believe in maybe the super pinstripe. And Maybe I hit it here a couple times. I don't know. But we'll leave them in there, and then we'll pick it right up with the M's. Lots of mold on the bottom, which, I mean, perfectly fine. That starts to happen after a little while. Hey, there we go. Super bamboo. Possible pinstripe. Maybe even super pinstripe if that's the thing. And possible pastel or super pastel. Very cool. This is kind of what we wanted to do. Creating all white snakes is always cool. People love BELs. That's what they call them. Blue-eyed leucistics. BEL for short. And the super bamboos, I feel, you know, when it comes out, we'll get an update and be able to look at the side of it. But I feel like they have a bit of a pattern to an extent on them. Just like a ghostly looking pattern. So, all right. Next up is the first of our O's. Of course, we want another BEL if possible. These are kind of oddly cut because the snakes have all pipped at this point, or just flat out come out. And wait, did we? I see some pattern there. Oh yeah, no, that's a pinstripe. That's a bamboo Lemonblast, and these are nice too. One of the cooler bamboo combos that I can think of, anyways. And they age quite well. Like the way they cut it, kind of weird, but yeah, still very cool. I'm not mad when I hit that, regardless. And I've gotten quite a few of them. The last one, I'm gonna get one more BEL right. It's promising, but then again, I thought that with the last one. Pattern? Yeah, I think so. Maybe not though. It could be what we thought before. Nope, it's got pattern. And that's not its blood, by the way. It's the blood from the top of the egg. Yeah, another bamboo. Bamboo Lemonblast again. So I gotta figure out, take a look, see who's created the super pastel versions of them. Kind of make a determination there on what's what. But yeah, still, I'm not mad at all with what I got. Lots of bamboo. And bamboo is very, very nice. We're actually gonna get them off this grate now. I'm always worried that they're gonna get caught up in there. There it is, spelling. Let's get it over here for you. B-A, where's the M? This is in the M. We can't spell it yet. Bam, and then boo over here. They're out of order, but I can't really do anything about that without messing with the animals and their eggs a little more than I wanted to. So I get them off this. Usually I use a hatch rite. If anybody watches any of ours, we've hatched a good amount, and all of a sudden, all at once, it was all late starting season and everything came at once. So I needed to go back to my old mainstay. These are basically converted light diffusers that I got from a local hardware store called Menards. And then I just cut them to the size of the egg box and called it a day. So we'll let these ones be in here now. Put the snakes that have not completely come out of their eggs over here. These will probably be out of their egg by tomorrow, if I had to guess. Quite frankly, they are already basically out. They just haven't made the bold leap to come out all the way. Now that they've seen a little bit of the world, they probably will make their way out.
So it's been some time now. I don't really know how much time, but what we're looking at here is a super pastel. Pretty nice one. I mean, I always like the way they look when they first come out, before the brown out comes rearing its nasty head. They look super cool, right? I mean, it's just kind of the case of it. Almost looks like this is a little dose of fire in there too, but it's not. It's just super pastel. And the next ones here are all going to be pretty darn similar to each other because, well, they are. We're coming up on 3 in a row. Bamboo Lemonblast. So bamboo pastel pins. I really like this combo. It's not like a insane crazy combo. I got no recessives or hets in this. This is a pet thing only. It's one of my favorites. Just kind of something I enjoy making every single year. Nothing in terms of projects that I'm got going really for this. I understand the limitations of where I want to work bamboo. It is one of my favorites, but at the same time, I don't have illusions of grandeur that I'm going to really go anywhere else with this. So this one's keying in on me. I'm trying to get its attention over here. Come on, don't bite me, please. Not that it hurts, but it's more or less just the anticipation of it. I think it's gonna bite me. Jeez, you peed in your soup. It bit its bowl. Let's see if this one's any better for us. I mean, I kind of understand. They're kind of just chilling, and here we come messing with them. But I always really like them. They're pretty cool. Some of these could be super pastel too. Like I said, it was a bamboo Lemonblast to a bamboo Lemonblast. I wanted to get BELs, and I got pretty bad odds on making BELs. Not on recreating the bamboo Lemonblast, that's for sure. People sometimes I hear say super pinstripe is a thing, but that it looks the same. It could all technically be that if that is the case. Same thing here. All 3 girls too, by the way. That's one thing I did get good odds on was girls. So in this combo, I do prefer that. Just in case somebody does want to breed them out, it's better to have a girl that doesn't have a recessive in her, I'd say. But all 3 of those are girls. And then our next one coming up is as well. And this one here, I would definitely say is super pastel. You can kind of see it. I should get another one out. Let's get the one that was least likely to bite me, I guess. This is where you can see the difference difference right there. See them side by side? That one a little bit darker. That one is a little bit lighter. I always appreciate the little pinstripes and stuff they have on them. And you might notice something with bamboo that's pretty unique to it. Look right there. You might think, oh my God, I got hurt, right? Nope. A little closer. Oh my God, you gotta cover it? It's an orange speck. Bamboo just gets these little orange specks from time to time. It's really cool. It's like a unique paradoxing to them. And they don't have any of that brightness to them. And that's like a really bright orange that they get. So I think this one is pretty neat. I mean, look how white the head is, but yet you can still see the patterns. Look at that perfect X right there. The Xbox logo. It was literally like that. It's cool. It's like ancient writing along the sides of them. I really appreciate a good pinstripe. And bamboo pinstripe is my favorite of them. And then my one and only soul bell is a boy. The first pastel, the super pastel, was a boy as well. We kind of pancake girls in between them. But a good old bell was a really good seller. And those beautiful blue eyes right there. The only one with a modicum of decency amongst it. Doesn't want to bite me. I always like the bells. They're pretty to make. I like making them every year. These combos I kind of do just for the pet qualities, honestly. Today we're going to be bringing you a very, very exciting egg cutting for our future. That would be our Monarch male to our pewter puzzle, which was also possible het daddy or weirdo gene. They're thought to be the exact same thing. I like to call it the weirdo gene because it doesn't sound as wrong. But obviously I am looking to create double hets here with both the Monarch and the puzzle. So hopefully I can get a good mix here. I definitely want to hit on cinnamon quite a bit on these. This pairing was actually very, very surprising. This girl got to size in 2 years and she never stopped eating until one day. She finally stopped eating. And I thought, you know what? She's to size. I'm just going to put the Monarch in there with her for like the brief spell. So like 30 minutes or something like that. Just sometimes introducing them together can create that emotion where they just start eating again. I never saw a pairing. I never saw them ever lock up. And then she started eating the next week. The week after that, though, she skipped again. So I kind of just put them in there again for like maybe 10 minutes or something like that. And then she ate again. And then she stopped again. So I was like, okay, you know what? That's fine. The pairing season was about to start in about a month and a half to 2 months. So I was thinking, you know, that's okay. She's already to size. She's already a very, very big girl. And then she just laid eggs. I never had anything like that ever where things just happen so incredibly smoothly. However, sadly, because I only put them in there for a max of maybe 40 minutes total in 2 separate times, she did only lay 4 eggs and then she laid 3 slugs. I definitely don't blame her for that because she had just a few visits from the male. So I think everything all together, I didn't even expect this, and I should be able to breed her again starting next season because she basically did already this season. So I'm obviously going to just let her sit until next season because this is what I would consider early into the next season, even though it's obviously late into this one. This was not really intended for now, but things happen. So I mean, they're doing their thing when you're not looking. Obviously I'm really excited. They are a little small. There's one that I am a little concerned about. Let's just see what we ended up getting. Now I don't know if any of these have pipped yet. The other ones that we put in here at the exact same time on the exact same level did pip. You can already see the one that I'm a little concerned about right there. It was already kind of small as is. They were all a little bit smaller. Oh, they are pipping. There's a cut there and a cut there. These ones definitely were a little drier, and I don't know why. Even this one I'm a little bit concerned about. But at the same time, I wasn't expecting these at all, so let's just go ahead and see what happened. Starting with this one, because this one I am, now that I'm seeing it, I'm pretty concerned about that. Very, very small. And it is deformed. Don't know if this one's alive. Looks like it just been a pastel. I think that's movement, is it? Or was it just me stretching it? See, like that could have been what we saw there. The only deformity I'm currently seeing, I don't see any kinks at the moment, would be this very, very badly cleft lip, if it is alive. Sometimes they're able to survive. It looks like you can ride it for the most part, but the head looks a little funky, and so does the bottom of the body, to be honest with you. Not seeing anything here. You know, the weird thing is that it's broken out of its egg sac. I do not believe that this one is alive right now. I believe it would have been a pastel had it been alive, but I was always concerned about this one from the get-go anyways, so that's never good. It's always sad to see that, but that does happen. So now let's look at this one too, because again, I don't know if we're gonna have good luck with this one either. Now seeing this, quite frankly. In fact, I'm almost positive right now, feeling what I'm feeling, that this is not gonna be good either. Oh yeah. No. Oh, this is dead. Unfortunately, these two in there were kind of small, so that's not good at all. Again, this was a surprise clutch, one that came very early, a whole year earlier, so you know, it's not like it's a lost clutch by any means right now. But unfortunately, these two, you know, I thought maybe it was just one egg that could have been bad, but this one also did not make it either. So, and then now I'm thinking that this one is a pastel and that one just probably would have been a normal with the double het. So, okay, well, we know this one's kind of scratching its way out already. Let's take a look at this one. We're not seeing that sunken in bottom, so I'm hopeful that everything's good with this one and that there wasn't anything, you know, crazy with the fact that it was a quick pairing. Maybe that's what did something in. So what the hell was this? I think it's fine, actually. I think it's fine. It's just weird. So that's its embryonic sac. It's upside down, but it is alive. There we go. That one's cool too. And I think we are okay here. Hello there. You were upside down. Very, very cool pattern. Everything about this I absolutely love. I mean, we're Monarch to... What the heck? I'm perplexed at the moment. There's no doubt it's cinnamon. I mean, it's got to be a pewter, right? You're cool. You are cool. Yeah, this is my first time ever hatching out of cinnamon, because that was all I had it in, was that girl. So definitely going to do a little bit of research on that. Very, very cool though. This is kind of what I wanted to see out of this pairing, was animals like this. Hopefully, at least we have, at this point our odds are a little low, but girl and a boy. But if we don't get a girl and a boy, then I'd prefer two girls, because then I can grow them out and then kind of repeat this pairing again, just so that I can get more results. So this dude or girl seems to be all right though. You know, I kind of worried when I first saw the bit of the egg yolk there, but it was upside down, so I think we're good to go here. So very, very, very nice. So a bit of a good rebound there after an incredibly sad and disappointing start. And then we're on to our last one. I think this is dried out. A little scratching right there. This is a dry egg. I'm gonna add some water to you. Okay. Definitely need to add a little bit of water in here. And what are we looking at here? Pastel. How the heck did this dry out so darn much? Give me that water right there. You always have a little bit. There you go, buddy. Definitely a pastel. There's a little bit of oranginess in there though, and this striping. Like I said, that weirdo gene could be playing a factor here on both of these and what's throwing it off. This could be a pewter weirdo, which is why I think everything's pushed up, because you're gonna get a little bit more whites in the belly. I think that's what we're looking at here. If I had to guess, I'm very still kind of new, especially with the weirdo gene. And then this one here, I think is a pastel, and then it could be the weirdo too. I gotta look more into that gene, learn more about it. Not gonna lie, like it was kind of just an extra, and it was originally like a possible, but you kind of tell as they grow. All right, this is about to be a gun show here. This dude does not like attention apparently, but he's gonna get some regardless. This is a pastel possible weirdo het Monarch het puzzle. He's really sharp, lots of cool pattern. I think he's pretty exceptional for just being a pastel in terms of visualness. I don't know if some het influence is happening here. See, look at him arch his back. He's so rigid. I'm surprised he hasn't had a go at somebody here yet. He is the boy of the two of them. See if he'll let me show it off. He's gonna get me, isn't he? Ah! He's actually cooperating, but you can kind of see it. Pieds right there. Hopefully a grower, not a shower. So, oh, chill, buddy. We're gonna let him go back because he is angry. But usually angry animals make good eaters. He has been a good eater so far. His sister is a bit more interesting in terms of hair pattern. She is a pastel cinnamon het Monarch het puzzle. She's also possible weirdo. I believe that she may prove out like her mother. Very, very nice. Having cinnamon along for the ride was very important to me for making the Monarch puzzles, because I know Monarch puzzle has finally been hit. There's not very many of them. I think there's only a couple people I've seen do it, but I don't want just to hit that. I'd like to get something else along for the ride, and cinnamon is really, really nice. I think it's going to be really cool in that. I think it's going to complement the Monarch very well. For that such a small clutch, that was a surprise from the get-go for an animal I didn't think was going to go this year. It's pretty darn incredible. And she's just more of a runner. She doesn't want to bite like her brother. Yep, girl right there. But something absolutely important to me was kind of working that project. I kind of put Pieds,
Monarchs, the Clown Monarchs together this year, but this one was kind of a surprise to get a male and a female, especially getting that cinnamon in there too, and Weirdo possibly along for the ride too, just kind of spice something up. That is a big time surprise for the year, and a very good one. This might be, from a project standpoint, the most important animal I produced all year, but we shall see. It'll take a little while, 3 years, or if anything, if you're like your mom, maybe 2. Somehow, that'd be cool. Today we're going to be doing our last egg cutting of the year. The pairing that made this was a bamboo pinstripe het pied 50% het albino to an Enchi orange dream pastel pied that is 100% lavender albino. The reason for this pairing was actually something that I started a long time ago that I probably wouldn't do right now, but this will give me the answers I seek. That's if I can get pattern in a bamboo pied. I am attempting to get bamboo with pinstripe and Enchi with hitting pied. I don't even know if it's going to look good. I had a pairing like this earlier this year, but I only had 3 viable eggs, unfortunately. So I don't feel like that was an accurate representation of what you can get because I didn't hit any of that combo. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for. Now, when she was born, we thought maybe she could be Pastel, but there's a clear difference between her and her sister. So I'm going to say no. And for this pairing, I'm actually very glad about that. I don't want Pastel, and I got the most eggs here. I actually had 10 eggs. One of them wasn't fertile, though. So we have 9 chances to answer that question. I think that if my question is answered and it doesn't absolutely blow my socks off, I'll probably part with one, if not both of these girls, just because bamboo pied is nearly pure white. We actually hatched out a bamboo pied, and she might be other things too, but it's an all white snake most of the time. Sometimes the head can have a little bit of a pattern, but let's answer that question together and see, is this gonna be something worth it? Am I gonna hit something that brings pattern into pied when bamboo is still present? As you can see, we have sort of decorating for Christmas and whatnot. I'm gonna show the Christmas tree. Isn't that a nice Christmas tree? So we have had a few pips here, as you can see. I think this one's okay. I actually was looking earlier. I wish to God I'd gotten it in camera. I finally saw one pip myself. I saw this one come out, and it just basically kind of pushed, and I was like, what in the? And then I just saw the tipping of its nose, and that was it. But yeah, we can see here, I see some whites in there. I think this one's white as well. Can you get your big head in there? Yeah, you can. As you can see, we did Christmas theme. There's a Christmas tree, Santa hat. There's a snake with a Santa hat, a snowman, a cross, a present, a star, a candy cane, and a very bad stocking. And the Christmas tree is very bad too. So we'll start with that one. But since it's the most deflated, I think everything's okay, but okay. Ooh. Ooh. There's its head. That's crazy. It's gotta be pinstripe, I would imagine. Pinstripe orange dream. Pied, obviously. Yeah, it's definitely pinstripe. These nice oranges on the side are great. I think pastel too, because of the faded head. I don't think we hit bamboo. I would imagine no. Really like these oranges. Aren't these nice? At the tip of its tail near its head. So yep, tucked up near its head there. I really like this one a lot. So yeah, I'd say pastel, pinstripe, orange dream. I don't think Enchi. You get more pattern. And then they're all 50% het. Lavender and possible het albino. So very good one at first. It hasn't completely come out of its egg sac, and you might think, what an egg sac? I'm talking like, what are you talking about? It's open now. They're in an embryonic sac. You can see the film very lately there. You can see the veins kind of resting on top of the film, maybe. It's floating there. When it breaks, then all of a sudden the snake will be moving around and, well, doing what this one's doing. You're the one who I saw pip this morning. You were the only one pipped this morning. Go back in. In a way, I hate when they pip because I have to be a little more careful. It's very goopy. Very, very, very goopy. I don't think we got a pied here. In fact, I'm like positive we didn't get a pied here. When I saw it, its head looked so great. I was like, what the heck is this? We got a window in the side there. That's what a window means, by the way. If it gotten wet, you could probably see through it and take a look at the snake. They occasionally form, and it's on their own. You should never attempt to make one form. I honestly don't know if that's something you can do or not, but I would never try it. Pastel. There's so much goop in the way. I want to say orange dream, het pied. Since the male is a pied, it has to be het pied. I want to say orange dream because of that right there, but it's into the goop right now, so that can amplify the looks and whatnot. But I definitely want to say pastel, orange dream, het pied. Again, everything's 50% het. Lavender albino and possible het albino. Like regular albino. Oh, that one's coming out more. Look, and it's a bamboo. I can tell right now. That's the one I saw pip. That's basically what I saw happen. Since you want to come out so badly, let's let you out. Bonk. Oh, I felt its little egg tooth. That's how they cut their way out, by the way. They have a little, if you feel their snouts when they first come out, you might feel like a very, it doesn't hurt by any means. It's just a little poke. Like at the tip of a pencil in a way. This is bamboo, I can almost tell you right off the bat. Bamboo Lemonblast. Very goopy. Difficult to see in there. I think we got a Bamboo Lemonblast here. Oh, very cool. I always love the pattern of these things. Like, look at that. Just like these almost like lightning bolts going down the back. Obviously not yellow or anything like that, but so cool. Love making these every year, and I've made quite a few this year. Near the end of the year, since everything went so late for me. They'll be ready beginning of next year when tax time rolls around. This one's white. I imagine maybe I got a bamboo pied here. I'm hoping, like I said, just to get my answer. I really would like that. I got some more chances here, though. So, dang it, difficult to be certain if there's no pattern, but I can already see the head is white. I just like to see if there's any pattern on the head at all. Hard to see. Is that like faint pattern? No, it's not. Looks like just another bamboo pied. It could be hiding a few other things in there. Technically pinstripe, Enchi, Pastel, Orange Dream, but I don't think that pinstripe or Enchi are in here. It's just an all white snake, really. Good chance it's Pastel, just because that helps kind of with that lightning factor, I feel anyway. So bamboo pied for sure. We're gonna start with the snake with the hat now. We got 5 more. Just hoping for a bamboo pied with some pattern and hopefully some cool looks to it. That said, maybe we have our answer. Maybe that is it, and it's just too powerful to get out. So we'll see. You gotta be kidding me. All those genetics at play. And I get a normal, well, het pied, and that's it. Well, I guess 50% het lavender and possible het regular albino. That's it right here. Come on, you had like the coolest design on you. All right, we'll go with, what is this, a hat? That's a hat. Goop, goop. Okay, you're something. Very nice, but not pied. Not a bamboo either. I would say Pastel Orange Dream. Not cloudy in there. Didn't I say this was a Pastel Orange? Or is it Pastel? I don't know. That one needs to come out more. I think I was on the fence if it's just Pastel or not. I guess Enchi could be floating around in some of these too, right? Yeah, I'd say Enchi. Maybe Orange Dream. Maybe Pastel. I don't know. Little face can't come out though, so. Het pied. Again, all of them are the other genetics I had already mentioned with the 50% and the possibles. Nice looking one though. Creamy coloring right there. Cool. Come on. We need more pieds now. This is really goopy. Like, look, I can't even pinch it much more than that. And if you haven't watched our videos on egg cuttings before, the reason I pinch it is because it can move the blood veins from there, which don't hurt them if you snip them at all. You can kind of see them on this one right here, literally just draped over top of it. These are not its blood vessels. They are the blood vessels that were on the top of the egg there, the ones that you saw if you ever candled them. That's what would deliver oxygen and whatnot to the snake itself. They are not needed anymore, so it doesn't really matter if you do clip them, but prefer not to because it becomes a bloody mess, especially when you're trying to look at things. So it'll be harder to avoid that though. I see white. I think I do. Maybe not. You look good. Whatever you are, you look good. That's definitely an Enchi, Orange Dream, probably Pastel. Don't think of the pied. Yeah, it's not a pied, but it's really nice. And the last 2 better be pieds. What have I gotten so far? 1, 2, 3. I only got 2 pieds, and one of them is the bamboo one. And then by that, I've only hit 2 bamboos too. It looks very cool though. Very creamy colored, very clean. If I was doing Desert Ghost in my collection, I would maybe even think that that was it. Oop, sorry buddy. Buckle up. We need to hit some good odds here. Pieds, bamboos, please, but not just by itself. Well, it's a pied. Orange Dream, maybe Orange Dream, I don't know, it's hard to see right now. I definitely hit a pied, not the bamboo, but I think it might be Orange Dream. Nice speckling of pattern in there. Pastel, let's say Pastel, well, maybe not, I don't know. I have to see it outside of it, but at least we had a pied. All right, last chance, and also very goopy. This is harder than the last one. We just got a Lemonblast here. So I did not get my question answered. Unless the 2 all-white snakes that I hit, the one earlier this year, and the one sitting right there, is the answer. In fact, I might send this one, and then the other one that's a little bit older that's still with me here, just to see if they have them, because then that answers my question, right? All right, it's been a couple weeks here, so we're gonna take a quick look at how they've grown. This one here is just normal, as far as I can tell. Well, it'd be het pied and possibly het lavender. Got some cool pattern type stuff, like floating pattern over here. Nothing too nuts here. And we are looking at an
an Enchi Pastel. I don't think this one is Orange Dream. Well, maybe it is, because it's got some nicer lighter oranges there, but then Enchis do bring that in by themselves anyways. But still, you know, always cool pattern on an Enchi and whatnot. Also, again, 100% het pied and 50% het lavender. Then we are looking at a Lemonblast here. Might be OD. Never seen OD with a Lemonblast, so I'll need to look at some other examples. But definitely those sides are a little different from the many others that I create. Always a cool looking animal, nothing too nuts about it, but I do love these types of animals. They always sell well at the pet level price. And this one I definitely believe is an Enchi OD, and I don't know about Pastel. I don't think so. It does have a slight blushing of the head, but not enough that I think it is. This one's kind of cool in that it's got this back here. It is not a visual pied. Does not have that pied belly, as you can see right there. It's just got a ringer, and it is het pied. So I don't know if you would say that that's paradox or just a ringer. The only reason I say paradox is because you can see right there the difference in coloring, but I do not think it's even paradox. I think it's just natural ringer, but a pretty cool one. This one here is really, really sharp. Very, very clean, beautiful. This is a Pastel Orange Dream Enchi. Again, 100% het pied, 50% het lav. I really like this one. This kind of goes to show how those combos all go well together with the OD, Enchi, and even Pastel kind of being in there. It helps it. Then what we have here is a Bamboo Lemonblast. So that's Bamboo Pinstripe Pastel. Make a lot of these all the time. Some interesting looking coloring right here. I don't know if it's Orange Dream. I don't know how that would look. Again, I've never made a Bamboo Orange Dream actually. You can see it popping through. I think it might be. And that just the bamboo's kind of washing it out. Kind of see it popping up in there. Now, bamboos sometimes do get these little orange flecks on them, like a paradoxing that's pretty unique to them, but they're very small and it's a very vibrant orange, whereas this is more of like a faded type orange. So it leads me to believe that maybe it might be, but again, I gotta look at some more examples of it. Still always like making these combos. Now to get into some of the pieds. This is a Pastel pied. At first I thought maybe it was just a regular pied, but when I seen that messiness right there, it just kind of tells me that this Pastel, plus you know it's got a more blush head and whatnot too, and it's generally just brighter. And we're looking at a Bamboo pied right here, and I know it's a Bamboo pied because Bamboo pieds often are all white. It's at least that. It could be Orange Dream, Pinstripe. I don't think it's Enchi, but maybe it is. Honestly, my whole objective was just to see what it would look like if I could get pattern into them. I had a bunch of chances, but I got hosed on hitting bamboos. Those are the only two bamboos that you saw, was the one from before, the Bamboo Lemonblast, and this one. And then I got hosed on making pied out of 9 eggs. Kind of stinks, but you know, I'm happy with some of the ones I made, and these are still kind of neat. But the one I like the most, of course, I saved for last. That would be this one right here. This one I did sex. It's a girl. She is an OD Enchi Pinstripe Pastel pied. At least that's what I believe. She's also 50% het lav. I kind of created something similar to this from her sister, actually. Right there. That was, I think, a month ago. This is an Enchi OD Pinstripe pied. So I think that the only difference here is that this is missing the pastel. And you can see the difference in color. At least this is what I'm going to believe that I hit here. They're actually both 50% het lavender, but there's definitely a bit of a difference there. So I think that this one is just a little more vibrant in terms of its oranginess. I really like this one. I remember this one saying, you know, this was impressive. And it is. There's some nice deep oranges that are on this thing. So I'm happy with the way that this turned out. No doubt about that. I just wish that I hit more pieds. I think, what was it, 3 that I got there, right? And more bamboo, especially kind of together. And hit it with all those extra combos like Pinstripe and Enchi. You know, I had a lot more odds, I figured, going in my favor, especially with 9 eggs. And I didn't get good odds. Let's just put it that way. But same time, I am happy with the diversity of the group. Everything in there has some cool, good lookings and can definitely find a home, especially this girl here. This one's pretty darn nice. I plan to send her in for a shed test for lavender and then kind of determine what I want to do with her from there. I could definitely shore up that project. I don't have a lot going on with it. This one would be a nice one to add. I'm not sure I will keep her, whether she proves or not, quite frankly. If she doesn't, probably not, but if she does, I'll give it some thought. So
Hope you enjoyed the video. If you like the egg cuttings, you can actually check out our whole playlist of past egg cuttings right here.